Welcome to another edition of Boxing Info. I'm your host, the Islander, and I'm just going to let you know I'm doing this video and more at the request of certain viewers that are afraid that my health has failed or I've disappeared or something to that nature. And I just want to let you know and start this off by prefacing this whole video by telling you I plan on doing more videos. I've kind of woken up out of my slump, so to speak, and what this revolves around is I have not made a video since last year's Floyd Mayweather-Pacquiao bummer of a fight. And as I've told you in the past, I'm not one that really likes or embraces change that much. And I've had an epiphany over the past, I'd say, week or so, mostly with watching the replay of Canelo and Khan. And I'll do a separate video. I'm going to make the videos that I do shorter and more frequent because I don't want people to have to sit through a 25 or 30-minute video to get the information they want about the fight I want or the fighter that they want to hear about. If you want to hear about my opinions, I mean, shoot, so much time's elapsed that most people don't even have time to watch YouTube videos every week anymore anyway. So with that said, I'm going to tell you this about Mayweather-Pacquiao. I watched the fight one time when it was on live, and I recorded it. I never watched a recording of it again. I was so disgusted with what happened. The best thing about that fight was ESPN's post-fight analysis on site in Las Vegas with Stephen A. Smith, Bernard Hopkins, Bill Flores, and Teddy Atlas, and they're disgusting it. Now understand, in all fairness to Mayweather, in all fairness to Pacquiao, obviously it was found out a day or two after the fight that Pacquiao was fighting with either a separated shoulder or a torn rotator cuff in his right arm. Because when I was watching the fight, and I don't want to spend time at all dissecting this fight. We all know what happened. We all saw what happened. It was just very underwhelming, to say the least. Okay. I'm watching the fight, and I'm thinking to myself, I've warned all of you in my audience before that sometimes a fighter grows old overnight without any warning. They lose their reflexes, they're just a step slower, and that's what it looked like with Pacquiao. None of his footwork was the same. The speed at which his footwork was non-existent. And with that said, when we saw him basically, the fight unfold, we figured, all right, time has passed. And then we find out he's got this shoulder issue, and the fallout from that happens. So he comes back against Timothy Bradley just a few weeks ago, and he looks like the Pacquiao of old. Now, I know the thing is, with fighting Mayweather one-handed, basically, he didn't have time to get his footwork in order and get his feet set and all this other stuff. Personally, I don't think it would have made a difference. To the Mayweather fans out there, I think Mayweather is Mayweather. And he was able to reach Pacquiao and land on Pacquiao. And the only thing I will say, and I don't want to basically make it, because I don't read a lot of websites, I don't read a lot of things about the fights when I'm disgusted about them like this. And I will say this, that I know it was documented that Pacquiao got this injury in training, and that he asked the commission if he could use a certain anti-inflammatory, anti-pain medication, and they said absolutely not. And I think, and it's just my opinion, I'm just speculating, I think he went to Mayweather, or they approached Mayweather about this, and were about to call the fight off, or say they couldn't fight. And with a fight of this magnitude, where Mayweather made in excess of $100 million, Pacquiao almost $100 million, or maybe it was even close to $200 million, that there was no postponing this fight. And I'm speculating that I think Mayweather may have told the Pacquiao people, look, just go through with the fight. As long as he doesn't try something crazy, I won't try to hurt him, and I'll just try to win the fight on points. And the reason I say that is, as I'm watching the fight, Floyd Mayweather Sr., whose opinion is not valued by most, was giving Floyd Jr. the absolute best advice in the corner when I was watching it to get Pacquiao out of there. And he kept telling him, straight right hand, left hook, get this sucker out of here and we go home. And he said that round after round after round, and Mayweather refused to follow those instructions. The only time it looked like he was ticked off and he looked like he was trying to knock out Pacquiao to me was in the 11th round, because I think Pacquiao hit him with the left hand glancingly or whatnot, and Mayweather looked at him as like, oh, it's going to be like that, huh? And he basically threw a combination that torqued Pacquiao's head around, and then it was basically back off, play keep away like I said he was going to do, and coast to a unanimous decision. With that said, and getting back to my epiphany, when that fight happened and it fizzled like it did, a part of boxing, in my opinion, died. Because I tell you this every time, that when a fight is built up to be this mega fight, don't expect fireworks, because one guy or both guys are protecting something. They're protecting their record. They're protecting their health. They're protecting their future paydays. And that's what it is. That's what Floyd Mayweather did this his whole career. Since the day he got on pay-per-view against Arturo Gatti, that is the last time that I think he stuck his neck out and risked everything to basically cement his pay-per-view qualities or his pay-per-view value. That was the last time. That was in 2005. That's the last time we saw all the risk being taken, the score knockout, the score stoppage, and continue to basically, excite people. Now, I will give Mayweather credit. He took the fight with Pacquiao, full credit. Won the fight fair and square, in my opinion. The shoulder I think, in my opinion, he would have won anyway. And then fought his last fight against Andre Berto, and was smart enough to walk away at 49-0, in which Berto gave him a better fight than I thought he would. But it was definitely not a setup or a walkover, because Berto was there to win and put a good account of himself out there. And I still think Mayweather edged him, not by, closer than what the judges had it. Now, Pacquiao looked just like the Pacquiao of old against Timothy Bradley, and I think we're basically closing that chapter. Now, getting back to what I was saying about the the change and the epiphany. My epiphany is this: is that boxing, over decades, over centuries even, changes like by one fighter or two fighters at a time, going off into the sunset, and then a new crop either coming out of the Olympics or coming out of the amateurs, starting to fill the gap as the older ones start moving out. It's like a gradual process. You got a bright star here, guy comes up, pay-per-view, bright star, top of the sport, pound for pound. Then you've got Olympians coming out, and they're coming out, and they're coming out, and as they start doing this. And the older fighters, whether it's De La Hoya or Julio Cesar Chavez or Sugar Ray Leonard or Muhammad Ali, whoever, they're gone. And then the new fighter, whether it's Sugar Ray Leonard or it's Oscar De La Hoya or it's Julio Cesar, they take their place, and then another crop comes. And it happens gradually. What has happened in this instance, part of my absence, is that it's been like a tidal wave. It's just been a flush. Pacquiao and Mayweather carried a large part of the sport, as well as Eric Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera and a lot of other fighters, Zab Judah and Costa Tszyu, who's been gone for a long time now, just tidal waved out. Much like the political landscape is happening in the United States, for those of you who have an ear open or an eye open for politics, which I've been following very closely, it's a tidal wave that's basically flushing these corrupt people to the side now. And that's not what this show is about. It's the reason why I'm telling you that I'm refocusing now on the guys that deserve our attention. And I'm going to make a video right at the end of this about the best fighters in boxing today, the pound for pound ones, what they've got going, the best fights that need to be made. A lot of you asked me to come back. You want my opinion on Triple G and Canelo. They're in the mix, along with Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev, Terence Crawford, all these boxers, Chocolatito Gonzalez, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, and a myriad of fighters in between that are all kind of coming up together. Deontay Wilder, all these fighters. And the trick is that they need to start growing and then dropping off one at a time to not create the vacuum that I feel has been created over the past couple of years. That's what's hurting this sport. It's a vacuum, along with the pay-per-view thing. And I'm also wanting to touch on, I've got a minute or so left. I'll do it in the next video about Triple G and Canelo anyway. But stay tuned. That's where I've been. That's where my mind's been, and I just want to clear the air. And next video, keep an eye out for it, is Canelo Khan, Triple G in the future. Stay with me.